All right. It is it is interesting that something wonderful happened yesterday. It was the start of the Black Conservatives Fund. My name is Willie Lawson, and I'm sitting here in the Willie Lawson Show studios. I wanted to get this out to you today because I think it's extremely important that as many people know as possible. Because I'm sure that some of you are just hearing about the Black Conservatives Fund. Now, the Black Conservatives Fund is a PAC that exists for the purpose of electing black conservatives into offices at every level, at every level, and the real reason is that there needs to be a renaissance of thought in the black community, and I think that that's been the missing ingredient, and I think that black conservatives hold the key and have been pushing the envelope in the renaissance of thought. For about 40 years, there's been monolithic thinking in the black community to the point where that has been the narrative that black people think this way. And black people see a situation, an economic situation, a crime situation, the educational system, a particular way, when the fact of the matter is that there's a rich diversity of thought in the black community, just like there is in every other community. And we're here, proponents and supporters of the Black Conservatives Fund, to not to change the narrative, and this is why that point is so extremely important. We're not here to change the narrative. We're here to destroy the incorrect narrative and create an entirely new narrative. The narrative is that there is as much diversity of thought and idea in the black community as there is in any other community across the nation. And there isn't, and those of us who are black conservatives are not going to cower anymore because we are stepping out of line with what mainstream media has divined to us as how we should think and the things that we should say. We're not going to go by those rules anymore. We don't have to, so we're not going to go by those rules anymore. So what I'd like for you to do, as you're watching this video, is to think about going to www.blackconservativesfund.com. That's conservatives with an S, fund.com. Black Conservative Funds Fund.com. And to see the level of people that are on the advisory board. We're talking about people like K. Carl Smith, C.L. Bryant, Anita Moncrief, Priscilla Smith, Alfonso Rachel, Eric Rush on our advisory board. We're talking about an esteemed panel of people who've decided that it is time to create the true narrative of diversity of thought, diversity of ideas in our community. That there are conservative Americans that happen to be black. And it is time to support and defend those that choose to run for public office. Because the deal is, we've said for years, a lot of us have said for years, that the answers to a lot of the problems in the black communities is never going to come from the outside. It's always going to come from the interior. I happen to believe that black parents know more about educating their children and what's going on in those schools than any think tank in Washington, than any politician in the U.S. U.S. House of Representatives or the Senate. I think that the answers are there, right there in those communities. I think that that people who live in black communities know more about how to solve their economic woes than any think tank or any group of politicians in the state capitals or in the U.S. capitals. And the closer that governments are to the communities, the more responsive they'll be. And because the more responsible they have to be. So that's what um, is a thumbnail sketch of what the Black Conservatives Fund is all about: is supporting candidates at every level that understand this, that support these ideas of smaller governments, and this is and this is an explanation of smaller governments that I think that people don't understand in a lot of Black communities. The smaller government means that the government is closer to you. The larger the government is, the more expansive it is, the farther the decision makers are from you, and that has hurt Black communities more more often and more severely than it has other communities. You know what? And like we always say, that if it's a recession, I mean, the line is, if it's a recession somewhere else, it's a depression in the Black community. If there are if there are job cuts, those job cuts always more adversely affect the Black communities than they do other communities. That's the truth. So it's time to encourage a diversity of thought in the Black community, and I think that Black conservatives have the answer, not only just for the Black community, but the country at large. So if you're interested in helping, if you're interested in donating, if you're interested in being part of what the Black Conservatives Fund is, go to www.blackconservativesfund.com, and you'll see what we're all about and who's involved, and what we plan on doing as we get closer to the 2014 elections, which are going to be landmark elections in the direction of the country and the direction of communities around the nation. So my name is Willie Lawson, and we'll be on the air on tomorrow at 1 o'clock on Blog Talk Radio. So you want to check us out on Blog Talk Radio, or you can go to WillieLawsonShow.com or SpaceBarProduction.com, and that way you can hear the show from yesterday, where I had Anita Moncrief, who is on the board of advisors of Black Conservatives Fund, and you can get a really good idea of what her heart is as she participates in this endeavor, and how we're going to be moving forward. Or you can listen to the show tomorrow. We're going to talk about a little bit more about the Black Conservative Fund, and we're going to talk about some candidates in Florida that I want to get information out to you. Glow Smith in District 5, and my friend and a friend of mine here in District 14 that is planning a race. So I think it's extremely important that we build a dialogue and have that diversity of thought. So often, diversity is used as one of those buzz terms that doesn't really mean anything. A lot of times, it's just a lot of different kind of people who look different who are saying the same thing. There really isn't any diversity of thought and ideas. And I think that we have to be as accepting of diverse ideas as we do skin color and creed and religion and sexual preference. I think that we have to accept or learn to accept diversity of thought as well, because I think that is as important an ingredient in building a nation as anything else. I think that having that diversity of thought, diversity of ideas, is the cement that we will need to hold this thing together we call the United States of America, and the freedoms that we've enjoyed. So I think that the Black Conservatives Fund is definitely a vehicle by which we can use to move that direction. All right. Well, thanks for hanging on for 9.5 minutes or so. We appreciate it. Again, if you want more information about Black Conservatives Fund, send me an email at WLS860 at gmail.com. That's WLS860 at gmail.com. Thanks so much. We will see you soon. Bye-bye now.